If governments can benefit from war, they will. The last girl we had in our house had been held captive for 7 years. She was a sex slave. I'm like, why are you smiling? She's got a broke nose, her back is busted. And she's like, I'm free. Even if you get them out, some people are so damaged. They so identify with what they've been brainwashed by. Kids have seen the worst. They've seen their parents beheaded, shot. They watch other kids get burned alive just to reinforce fear. There's a girl we've been looking for 3 years and we found her. She's such a high-value target within the organization of ISIS. She's the last Christian girl that was kidnapped. They brainwashed her so good. She's recruiting girls to be vests.
Suicide bombers.
Yeah. He goes, let me kill her. He says it's better for everybody, including her.
What kind of stuff is happening to these kids?
We always try to find family. Tribal family is the best way. You can't adopt kids out of Iraq. You can't adopt a kid if you're not Muslim. There are prohibitions to all that. Many are still in camps, and it's going to turn into generational stuff like Palestine, where there'll be perpetual victims. And it's very sad what happened, and it could have been stopped a lot sooner. But there's always, if governments can benefit from war, they will. And they'll even sacrifice their own people.
I think we've all figured that out.
Yeah.
Especially this country.
Yeah.
What I meant was, what's happening to those kids before you get there?
Depends on where, what time frame, what's going on. Everything from they're hiding with their parents and their parents are murdered, to they've been abducted by ISIS. Bad things happen. Things that people don't need to know. They don't want to know. And I remember I kept one video of a kid. It got sent to me in an area that we were working, and ISIS killed the parents. And this little baby, so toddler, they left him by a garbage can. And he's covered with flies. He's got a diaper that's, old. And people look at this video and you think you're looking at a dead baby, and then it moves. And then you hear ISIS fighters laughing. And kids have seen the worst. They've seen their parents beheaded, shot. They watch other kids get burned alive in fires, or one case it was like an outdoor oven, just to reinforce fear. The last girl we had in our house had been held captive for 7 years, and she was a sex slave. So here's what's amazing about the resilience of kids. She's sitting in our living room at our house in Iraq, our safe house, and she's smiling. I'm like, why are you smiling? She goes, I'm free. She's got a broke nose, her back is busted. And she's like, I'm free. And y'all are helping me. No one else is. And Rosa, could you give them all names? We reunited 9 mothers with 12 children. They had separated. ISIS had separated the moms for sex slaves, and then the children were somewhere else. And we got them together for the first time. They all stayed at our house. And but probably the hardest situation, we have ongoing cases, individual, hard to reach. We made a promise we would never stop searching for girls who are still being held. And we never publicly make stuff known. But there's a girl we've been looking for 3 years, and we found her. She's been held. When we started looking for her, she had already been held for 2 years, so 6 years. And my team goes, they call, and like, boss, we found her. She's such a high-value target within the organization of ISIS that they put out a full story in a Turkish newspaper that said her name and that she had been rescued. That's complete false.
Why is she such a target? Why is she so important to them?
Well, she's the last Christian girl that was kidnapped. And they brainwashed her so good. She's recruiting girls to be suicide. And
suicide bombers.
Yeah. She's so good at recruiting. And my guys, they called me one time. And it's like not long ago. And like, we found her. We've got eyes on her. We've been monitoring. I said, what's the risk assessment to get her? They go, bloody, but we can do it. I said, well, what type of casualties, a loss of life? And they go, it's gonna be bloody. And then he goes, do you want my opinion? And I need people to understand this. This is not American guy talking. They're indigenous. And he goes, let me kill her. He says it's better for everybody, including her. So I prayed, and I told him, I said, I can't say yes to that, or there's hope. And then they moved her, and we know where she is right now. And we actually got a video from her mom, begging her to please come. And this is the type that requires prayer. Because even if you get them out, some people are so damaged emotionally. It's tough. They so identify with what they've been brainwashed by. So, again, the normal people and even Christians, they don't understand how nasty and dark this world is and what we deal with when decisions you have to make. And, our goal is always to set the captive free physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's just the Middle East. Every country, every region has its own rules. And, it's ugly. It's an ugly ministry that's needed. And we're all about, again, setting captives free physically when they need it, emotionally and spiritually. But that's caused a lot of people to not like my wife and I. And we don't care. That's our job. Like my wife said, as we're about to pump into a really bad situation. Eileen looks at me and goes, what's the worst that can happen? We die? I'm like, yeah, death. She goes, but then don't we win, honey? Because we're going to heaven. I'm like, dang, you really believe in this stuff like at a whole different level. I mean, I believe when we're dying, but I'm looking forward to the great grandpa death, pawns, kids, my wife is like, we follow God's will. And if we die, it's his will, not man's.